Hey Condors, it's your boy, Mr. Roberts, with another episode of Social Distancing Science. Before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button and mash that bell so that you don't miss a single upcoming episode of Social Distancing Science. Let's look at our agenda for today. We've got 4 things we're going to do. We're going to read about what are galaxies. We've got an investigation on classification of galaxies. Then we're going to read about how are those galaxies classified. And we've got a lesson review. We're wrapping up this lesson. Okay, let's get to the curriculum and get started. Now, what are galaxies? Most people live in towns or cities where houses are close together. Not many houses are found in the wilderness. Similarly, most stars exist in galaxies. Galaxies are huge collections of gas, dust, and stars held together by gravity. The universe contains hundreds of billions of galaxies, and each galaxy contains hundreds of billions of stars. And many of these stars have planets and other celestial objects orbiting them. Now, galaxies are not distributed evenly in the universe. Gravity holds them together in groups called clusters. Some clusters of galaxies are enormous. The Virgo cluster contains about 2,000 galaxies. Most clusters exist in even larger structures called superclusters. One of those galaxies is our own galaxy, the Milky Way. Our solar system and many other solar systems are in the Milky Way, a galaxy that contains almost 200 billion stars. These stars and solar systems orbit around the center of the Milky Way. The Milky Way is a member of the local group, a cluster of about 30 galaxies. Let's find out about classification of galaxies. Because all galaxies are different. They're like snowflakes. Let's find out how they're different with a video. Pay attention. You're going to need to make some notes when we're done. So make sure you take some notes in this space below of what you saw in the video. And let's go on to some questions about it. Now, how would you classify the galaxies you observed in the video? Answer the question, and then let's move on. How are galaxies classified? In the video, we observed 3 different types of galaxies: elliptical, spiral, and irregular. They're classified based on their shape. Spiral galaxies. The stars, gas, and dust in a spiral galaxy exist in the spiral arms that begin at the central arm. Some spiral arms are long and symmetric, others are short and stubby. Spiral galaxies are thicker near the center, a region called the central bulge. A spherical halo of globular clusters and older reddish stars surround the disk. Unlike spiral galaxies, elliptical galaxies do not have spiral arms. Elliptical galaxies have a higher percentage of old red stars. They contain little or no gas. Scientists suspect that many elliptical galaxies form by the gravitational merging of 2 or more spiral galaxies. And irregular galaxies are oddly shaped. Many form from the gravitational pull of nearby galaxies. Irregular galaxies contain young stars and have areas of intense star formation. That's it. We're on to lesson review. First, can you build a graphic organizer that shows how a solar system is formed? Make sure to include celestial objects such as stars, planets, moons, asteroids, meteoroids, and comets. Now, it was once thought that Earth was the center of the universe. Eventually, it was proven that the planets orbit around the sun. The illustration shows the path of Earth's orbit around the sun. What do you think would happen if Sun's gravity were to suddenly stop? Would the Earth continue to move within its orbit? Would Earth move in a straight line towards the sun? Would Earth move in a straight line instead of a curved line? Or would Earth stop moving and become suspended in one spot? Did you know that Halley's Comet orbits the sun and can be seen from the Earth about every 76 years? However, before the work of Sir Isaac Newton and Edmund Halley, comets were thought to pass in a straight line through the solar system. In 1705, Edmund Halley used Newton's laws to determine the gravitational effect of Jupiter and Saturn on a comet that he observed in 1682. Using this information and historical records, he determined that the comets seen in 1531 and 1607 were the same comet. Halley correctly calculated the orbit of the comet and predicted its return in 1758. Now, Newton's law states that all objects exert gravitational force and that objects with more mass exert more force. Which system of objects has the greatest effect on the orbit of Halley's Comet? Is it the Earth, the Sun, and the Moon? The Sun, Jupiter, and Saturn? Asteroids, meteoroids, and dwarf planets? Or Earth, the Sun, and Saturn? And on to our real-world connection. Now, scientists are actively searching for planets orbiting other stars. They can use gravity to find these planets called exoplanets. Hypothesize how gravity helps locate distant planets orbiting distant stars. And here's an interesting one. We all know the Earth only has one orbiting moon. Jupiter has 79 that we know of. Can you infer why Earth has fewer moons than Jupiter? Answer that question, and you're done for the week. Have a great day. I will see you all later.